ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om, may He protect us both. May we both enjoy together. May we both exert together. May our studies become brilliant. May we not become disputatious and hate each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. Welcome everybody. The whole idea of Tattva Bodha, the text what we are doing, is to give us some idea about the definitions of the concepts usually used in scriptural textbooks, spiritual textbooks. Once we get the definitions right, it becomes very easy. So it explains everything. It explains all the concepts, all the formulas, all the strategies used by great masters to convince one and all that you are that supreme reality. Once that understanding dawns of who I am, relating with the world becomes much easier. When I don't know who I am, it's very difficult to communicate. It's exactly like a small child. If you have seen in a school, the what's it called, nursery school. It's all around 3 years old, 4-year-old children are going there, and they always keep their fingers on the mouth while they are going, and they have a badge, their name and address there. And the child is happy going there. The mother leaves, and father or mother takes them back in the school. So in that play school or whatever, they are happy, very, very happy. They don't have any problems because they can see the parents. Supposing one of the days the child just gets out and it loses his tag. When the child loses his tag and somebody is asking, "Beta, kahan ja rahe ho?" He has no idea. He just cries, "Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Daddy," that's all. He has no idea what to do, how to go about it. "Where is your house?" "Uncle, there is a big tree. Under that tree is my house." "Oh, which tree? What tree? Is there a temple nearby? Is there a church nearby? Is there a mosque nearby? Is there a mall nearby? Is there a shop nearby?" The child does not know anything. When you don't know who you are, contacting people, maintaining relationships with people is extremely difficult. And since most of us don't know who we are, always all the problem comes from the point of view of relationships. So the first thing any textbook focuses is get the definitions right and find out who you are. So until I tried to find out who am I, there will be a problem, because I am what I am. But when I don't know who I am, then various theories are propounded by the society, by the masters, to make me understand who I am. Theories are given. It's very easy to just stay put and say, this is what I am. And once the understanding dawns that I am the self, then there is nothing, there is no problems after all. So all the other theories are given to explain what is not. Due to my own false identification with matters that do not exist. So when I use the term do not exist, I mean they exist for a particular period of time, but it is not long lasting. My complete identification with such matters destroy me. And then I get involved in those matters in the name of duties and responsibilities. So these words you would have heard a lot. What is my duty? What is my duty towards myself? I want to prove myself. What is my duty towards my relationships? My husband, wife, children, relatives. What is my duty? What is my duty towards my community? We should all stick together. All Maharashtrians should stick together. All Tamilians should stick together. All Gujaratis should stick together. All Rajasthanis. So everybody, what is my duty towards my community? There's nothing wrong in this. I'm saying it deliberately. There's nothing wrong. But what is my duty towards my community? What is my duty towards my country? What is my duty towards the whole planet? Global warming is going on, and it is global. So it is not about my house or your house or anywhere or country. It is globally going on. So what can I do to contribute to that? Duties and responsibilities are prescribed, each one to their own. Now the problem is, assignment of these duties and responsibilities completely depend on that particular individual and his or her growth mechanism. Most of us, if not all of us, are willful slaves. We are slaves willingly. There's this lovely quotation by Swami Ramatirtha. He says, a slave is a slave because he is free. A slave is a slave because he is free. Freedom to choose is there with everybody. We had our great national leaders during the 1947-48 era, or before that, from 40s onwards actually, who were fighting for the freedom struggle of this country against the Britishers, against any invaders for that matter. And the thought was, I don't want to live in bondage. Even if I die, it's all right. But I can't breathe a single moment in bondage. So this kind of an attitude is important in the spiritual life. So there's this beautiful program which I saw. In olden times, there used to be a program called Malgudi Days, quite a lot time old. There, they showed this story of a woman, probably a middle-aged woman. She must be around 60s. She's taking care of a huge house, not hers. She is the caretaker, and she's been caretaking of that house for past 30 years. Children have grown in that house. She knows that this lady of the house, the husband, and they treat her as a part of the family. So she sees every aspect of everything in that house. She is the main person who does everything. And she's been working, and she is very happy, and she is very contented. Only once the lady of the house asked this woman that, What about your family? She said, no, my husband left me long time back. 20 years back, he just left without saying anything, he just left. So I picked up the life and I just went on, and I'm very happy with it. And she was genuinely happy. And they showed after a little while, suddenly they hear a noise outside the house. A person shouting, Lakshmi, Lakshmi. So this lady of the house goes there and sees an old man standing with a stick in his hand, and he's shouting, Lakshmi, Lakshmi. The lady of the house says, what do you want? She said, call Lakshmi. I am her husband. So she doesn't know what to do. So she goes and calls that lady, Lakshmi, somebody has come. He says he's your husband. He's come. I don't want to see his face, this, that. And she comes out and she just asks the husband, why have you come after so many years? And he says, I am tired. I went round everywhere. Now I am tired. I have become old. So come to the house and cook and take care of me. He actually says that, cook and take care of me. Come to the house. Lakshmi turns back to the lady of the house and says, I have to go. She is stunned. The lady of the house, the young lady is stunned, and she looks and says, you sure you want to go, Lakshmi? Like, are you being forced to go, or you can stay? This is your house. You don't need to serve such a person who is not bothered about you. She says, no, it's okay. He wants food, no. I will go and help him a little bit. It was an eye-opener to that level. When I saw that program, I said, it's a willful slave. A slave, a person who chooses to be in servitude. There is no desire to do anything better. Happy. Wherever we are happy. So, Vedanta subject, Tattva Bodha, Bhajagovindam, Atma Bodha, Yoga Vasishtha, all these great books is not meant for people who are completely contented in that slavish attitude of living under somebody's toes. It is for people, however struggling they are, who are trying to find a way out of this enmeshed personality, the society, the entanglements of the society. The focus of the study is there. That is the reason the whole subject hinges on this one principle which we covered last time. Knowledge always flows from the known to the unknown. Whatever I know, so what do I know? I know my ignorance. I look around, I see a society, I see relationships. As soon as I am born, whether I like it or not, I am born into a family. The father, mother, brother, sister, every uncle, everybody is there. So, I am told by everybody that I have certain duties and responsibilities towards it. Do it. Continue doing it. To what level? Who draws the line? What is your responsibility and what is your duty? An intelligent person looks around and says, is this what life is all about? That's it. That's what life is all about. Trying to do my best to all my relatives, trying to do the best towards our children, towards my husband, towards my wife. And at the end of it, nothing comes of it. It just goes back and I am where I belong, again, alone. Many a times, 98% of the time, alone and lonely, depressed, that life has been spent. Now I don't know what to do. Jitna relatives tha, now they don't want me. relationships don't. So do I need to be lonely in that way, or can I move with my studies, with my understanding towards the higher, to a level of solitude, where the older I get, the more aged I get, the more happier I am, the more in solitude I am. Solitude means I enjoy my aloneness. When you use the word alone, it's always referred to I am alone because society is not there with me. When you use the word solitude, it means I don't need the society. If it is there, okay. If there is a party, let's have a party, it doesn't matter. If it is not there, I'm still all right. I'm happy with you, but never for a moment think that my happiness is dependent on you. So knowledge always flows from the known to the unknown. What I know the world, fair enough. What do you know? The more introverted you are, you find out what all you are not. That which remains is the self. This is my hand. I put a kerchief on my hand. Now what do you see? Sir, a handkerchief. After that I put a watch. What do you see? A handkerchief and a watch. I put something else. What do you see? Handkerchief, watch and my wallet. Correct. Now I remove the wallet. What do you see? Handkerchief and watch. Very good. You are observing. Lovely, lovely. Good students. I remove the watch. What do you see? The handkerchief. Excellent. I remove the handkerchief. What do you see? Nothing. No. After removing everything, the substratum still remains. And that substratum is who I am. The self, the supreme reality, whatever name we give it. So knowledge always flows from the known to the unknown. What I know, presumably I know my body, physical body, gross body. So last time we did gross body, subtle body, causal body, pranas, all these things I am not. Now they are negating what all we are not. It's a crazy thing. The problem is when I understand I am the self, then my involvement and attachment to everything else falls down. Body is there, but it is not mine. Mind and intellect is there, subtle body is there, it is not mine. It is there. It has a life. It has a what we call expiry date. So the theory starts from here. First of all, I have imagined myself to be somebody I am not. I have imagined somebody that I am not. After imagining myself to be somebody I am not, I have to explain what I am not. Because you need to discount, and whenever you need to discount, you need to know what you are discounting, what you are giving up. I believe God is there up and He is taking care of me. Correct. Very good, beta. Huh? Very good. Sir, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in any external power. I don't believe in God. Okay, very good, beta. Very good. To believe in God, you should know what God is. To not believe in God, even when you're discounting God, you need to know who God is. Do we know who God is? Khatam. Since we don't know who it is, we have no idea. We are just beating around the bush, going to temple, churches and mosques, running behind different idols with the understanding that this is God. Start from the known. What do you know? This is my body. I can see it in the mirror every time. This physical personality, gross body. That which makes this gross body run is the subtle body. So it is said, and that which makes the subtle body run is the causal body. So we'll start doing gross body, explanation of gross body. The three, so previously, if you remember, I'm just reading the verse. What is the self? Verse 16. On negating the gross, subtle and causal bodies, the five sheaths, that which is a witness to the three states of consciousness of the nature of Sat Chit Anand is the self. That which is not all these is the self. Okay. Now we are defining what all not there, which I have in my imagination concluded that it exists. The three bodies. He is explaining the three sharira now, three bodies. The gross body, sthula shariram kim, panchikrita pancha mahabhutaihi. What is the gross body? Definition of gross body. Gross body, we can see before. That which is made up of five great elements, having gone through the process of panchikarana, born as a result of good actions of the past, the seat of experiences like joy, sorrow, etc., and subject to 6 modifications, potentially exist, to be born, to grow, to mature, to decay and to die, is the gross body. Simple, extremely simple. Gross body, this is just a physical body, it is temporary in nature, therefore don't get involved. So when they say don't get involved, understand what it is. What is the gross body? Just understand. It is made up of 5 elements. What are the 5 elements? The 5 elements are space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5 elements which makes everything. So these 5 elements, after panchikarana, panchikarana means distribution of elements, division of these elements. So don't look around, you will not find a proof for that. Okay, this is just a theory given of how creation started. So if you try to go beyond, you have to take the words of the master saying this happened and move on with that, because they are trying to explain something. I gave this example many times. A person coming to me and says, sir, I am very agitated, very stressed, I am very depressed, I don't know what to do, I am in so much pain that I have no idea how to get out of it. I look up to that person and says, why are you in so much pain? What happened? And that person is crying. Hey, sir, actually, I can't even bear the pain. What happened? Where is the pain? Tell me. Sir, past 10 years, you see, all of us have these 2 horns on our head. The right horn, it's perfect, sir. It has never given me any trouble. It's all right. The left horn, if you see properly here, sir, by the side of that left horn, at the base of it, there is this crack. From there, the pus is oozing and it's paining, extremely painful, sir. Though it looks like a small crack, it's extremely painful. I've tried all medicines. I've tried homeopathy, I've tried allopathy, I've tried naturopathy, I also tried going to Ganpati. Nothing works, no pati works. What to do? And it's extremely painful. I am not able to sleep at nights. That lady is crying for 15 minutes, 20 minutes before you. And you are looking wide-eyed at her. And she says, I am sorry. What did you just say? Sir, everybody's got two horns, no? Right horn, no problem. Left horn only, that's right. She is imagining there is a set of horn on her head. Now, when that imagination is borne fruit to a level where it is so painful, no teacher worth the name, no person worth the name can tell that, listen, this is your imagination. It does not exist. What horn? Actually, you are seeing a horn on my head or your head. There is nothing, there is no horn there. You can't talk like that, because from that imagination arising of that pain is real. Then what do? You give a pudi, you give a udi, you give ash, you give some medicine and say, don't worry, many people have come to me with this problem. That left horn, majority of the time it breaks from the base, That's the problem. Right is all right. Majority of people, 80%. So you don't worry, you're not alone. You take this medicine and apply it regularly. It will become all right. And when you are applying every day, do one thing, and he'll remove Rudraksha or something. He says, listen, I have put this in water, and then after 5 days of japa, I have put it in milk, and 108 times every day I have chanted Gayatri with this. So this thing has extreme power in itself. Very powerful. This will help you heal. So do these 3 things. Apply this medicine on the left side of the crack. You will get it. Take this Rudraksh or something in your hand. Sit quietly for 15 minutes before your Ishta Devata. Ishta Devata means that God which you like. Can I sit before the photograph of Allah? Yes, sit. Prophet Muhammad, sit. Jesus, good. Krishna, whatever it is. Whoever it is. It really doesn't matter. Divinity is everywhere. In any roop you can see. You can see it in the roop of a teacher. You can see the roop of your parents. You can see the roop of some uncle where the great values were there. It can be anybody. Concentrate. Sit for 15 minutes like this. Peace and quiet. And the last thing you should do is find out whether there is an orphanage by the side of your house or an old age home by the side of your house, and weekly once, don't do it 3-4 times, we are not supposed to do it, weekly once or maximum twice, you are going to that orphanage or old age home and spend some time with them. You need not give them anything. Spend some time, half an hour, 1 hour with them. That's it. And you will see the pain at the base of the horn will decrease. These are the medicines given for the pain for the left side of the horn, which does not exist. But you can't tell that to the person. Similarly, we have launched now, since we have imagined the world, since we have imagined in ignorance that I exist, I am alive, I am breathing, I have my relatives, I have my duties, and since that is burdened on us, it is dinned in our heads and we have understood it rightly or wrongly that this is what we are, then we need to give theories to explain what is that and how to get rid of the identification with that. So here we have launched into what is that. But sir, I am Param Brahma. I am not the body, mind and intellect. Very good. If you have understood that, get up and leave. If you understood, sir, we were there in Delhi for some lectures, and there was this house where we stayed, and our teacher had a lecture in Fiqh auditorium, and 3-4 boys were staying there in that particular house, and that lady was so sweet, extremely sweet lady, 65-70 years old, and she was giving us food, breakfast and all, and we were all sitting there, and she's saying very nice, very nice, very nice, and her husband was also there by the side. So what do you do? Very good, we are teaching. Acha, what do you teach? What is Vedanta basically? So Bhagavad Gita mein, and then whenever people have the Bhagavad Gita, they like the stories very much. So और भगवद गीता में ऐसे क्यों हुआ, वैसे क्यों हुआ, रामायण में ऐसे क्यों, they start asking questions. I saw the husband, quite obese, sitting on the dining table and not talking much, just eating. He's not even looking at us. He is housed us. So for 5 days we are going to stay in his house, but he's not even looking at us. So we said, uncle, you are coming for our teacher's lectures? No. You are not interested in Bhagavad Gita and all? It's just fair enough, it's okay. No, you see, it's not about interest. What is there in Bhagavad Gita? Isn't Bhagavad Gita saying that God is in you? Yes, sir. Bhagavad Gita says the Lord is in you. So God is in you, God is in her, God is in me also. Correct, sir. So when God is in me, it means I am God, right? Correct, sir. Correct. When I am God, why should one God go and listen to the other God? The very fact I am listening, that means I don't know who I am. I know who I am God. And the way he said it, I was like, wow, he's understood. He is God. And while eating, he has a box by his side which is full of medicines. After food, this medicine, before food, this medicine. If you are so much involved into that medicine, that means so much physical problem, mental problems and intellectual problems. Just by declaring I am God doesn't help. You have to understand who you are. You understand? So this type of a declaration, so those people who say, I have understood self, I am the supreme reality, I have understood the 11 dimensions, the 5 dimensions, the 3 dimensions of the world, off you go. But anybody who is a genuine inquirer will stick on and say, let me find out who I am. Because I think I know the body. Do I know the body? It is made up of 5 elements. How do I know the physical body is made up of 5 elements? Everybody knows. It is said in the books. But still, how can you see when somebody dies, one by one these elements leave us? First, body starts becoming cold. Fire has left. Second, air oozes out of the system, leaves the body. It starts smelling. Anybody's body. Then liquid starts oozing out of the system. Water gives way. Then the space that body occupies slowly takes over. The space goes to its original. Why? Because the body goes on shrinking. And the earth, wherever it is kept, it is disintegrated. It goes back to earth. So the body made up of 5 sense organs, 5 elements of air, space, fire, water and earth. I have a visualization where all these 5 elements have met for a tea party, like Alice and the, what's it called? Alice in Wonderland. All of them are sitting in the dining table. All the 5 champions are sitting, the 5 elements, and they are having tea, they are having biscuits, they are having whatever accordingly you find. And they are communicating very nicely to each other. After half an hour, they look up to the time and say, oh, time to go. We need to leave. and each one lives in their own destination. That is my physical body. At present, the 5 elements are there, sitting and enjoying. It's going on. So, talking is going on, listening is going on, all these things are going on. Someday, one day, these 5 elements will look at the watch and says, time up, boss. Jana hai, please, bye bye, bye bye. Okay, see you, bye, and they go off. At that time, the elements will go off. Body will be where they are. Simple. So it is made up of 5 elements. When you see this, you'll understand this. That which is made up of the 5 great elements, having gone through the process of Panchikarana. Now this is the theory where it is said that the 5 elements are living or there existing in its nascent form. Nascent form means pure form. Just simply I'll explain to understand. 5 elements of space, air, fire, water, earth in its purest form. When they divide, half of space divides and gets merged with the other portions. Half of air divides and then it is being made into a subtle body. That further divides again into different proportions. Nobody knows what proportion. Adi Shankaracharya has said 1/4 and 1/8, 1/8, 1/8. We have no idea to prove or disapprove anything. This is just a theory given, remember, of the crack on the horn. Okay. So these are just theories given, just move on with this. So this is that theory, that process of bifurcation and distribution of the 5 elements, and how these 5 elements make the person, make the world, is what the system is called Panchikarana. Don't get, I am again saying, too much into this, otherwise you will start complicating it. This is called jugglery, intellectual jugglery. It is not important. What is important is all this is our imagination. So we need to know a little bit to discount it. I'll come to that later. What is this? Through the process of Panchikarana, born as a result of good actions of the past. This human body which I have got is extremely rare. How rare? Go through the TV programs of National Geography, Discovery Channel, especially go to Planets and Suns, where they show how small is our planet in comparison to the universe. How small is our sun in comparison to the universe? How small is our Milky Way galaxy in comparable to the universe? Just a dot, even not, we are not even a dot, because eventually we don't even see our sun. The way it takes over different suns they show, don't even see it. What is shocking and surprising is we know X amount of light years away things are happening, X amount of, there are so many stones in space, so many planets in space. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, ye to hai, this is there in our solar system. Other than that, at the end of the solar system, more, so many planets, millions and millions of planets, which we have observed as human beings in the past 100 years. You know, surprising, not a single planet has life. We have it on Earth. How life came about, no idea. Nobody has any idea. Again, theories are given. Asteroid came, comet came, hit, all these are theories. Dinosaur died, we have no idea what it is. Somehow, and even here in Earth, look around one day, if the ants come together, the warrior ants, the proper ants, the red ants, if they come together and decide, yeah, we'll take over human beings. Human beings will be removed from the system. That is the strength of that one insect. Imagine all the insects' life. Imagine all the 8 feet animals, their life. Imagine the lions and the tigers and the elephants and the whales and the dolphins and the sharks. So many things in the water, so many living beings everywhere. Each and every ant, each and every spider, each and every lizard, each and every rat or a cockroach, so many things. I could have been born in any of those forms. Any of those forms. Because it is the being born itself is not in my hands. I could have been born as a crab, as an octopus, I don't know, as a frog for that matter. I could have been born anywhere else, in any shape, in any form, in any womb, in any physical form. I don't know what happened. Something happened. A lot of elements came together. Some punya, I don't know what punya, what good I did, you did, we don't have no idea. Something happened, we all came together, all these circumstances and situations came together, and there you are, a healthy human body with 2 hands, 2 legs, healthy, just to remain as a human is healthy. A million things going on in my physical personality now, which indicates that thank God I am alive. A spiritual person is one who understands that thank God I am alive, I am breathing, boss. A year back, 6 months back, due to this disease, people could not breathe. There was no oxygen in this country. They were running around for cylinders. This is an open secret. Everybody knows it. From that, we can breathe. We can see. We can talk. We can communicate. We can educate each other to become better than what we were yesterday. Every aspect of the human being is a blessing. To get this life, this breath, prana inside me, to get people around me who take care of me so that I can love them and they can love me back. Things that are happening around me is nothing short of a blessing. That is why we do grace every time in Christianity. That is why we look at the Lord of Rama, Krishna and say, thank you for everything, boss. The very fact that I am living and I am looking is enough. Anything could have gone wrong. So this human body is nothing but a huge gift. How this gift came to me, it's a lottery. I don't know what happened. I don't know what I did. It must be my past life. Have you seen your past life? No, we don't know. It's a theory again. We have no idea what happened. I don't have any idea what happened. What I did in the past, who was my father, my grandfather, I have no idea, nothing. Something happened. Some things came together magically. Together. They coordinated with each other. With some blessings, some karma, I don't know what happened. I am born. A human being is born. That's the biggest blessing, is when you look up and say, thank you. Every step, thank you. And the more you sit on saying, crying over something which is not in your control, the more papi you are. The more sad you will be. You are guaranteeing yourself sadness, because you have a tendency to see things which is not there and cry over it. Rather than counting your blessings, every time count your blessing. There's this beautiful program I saw. I don't know whether you have heard of this person called Mr. Bean, So Mr. Bean had a program. So what he does, he's very possessive about his certain idiosyncrasies, certain aspects. So he has a bear which he sleeps with. He has a car. So he drives his car to a shopping mall, and then he parks the car. I'm saying it very but the way he does it is entirely laughable. So he parks the car and he ties his steering wheel with a chain so that nobody picks up and all those things. He closes the door, he latches the door. There is a latch by the side of the car door, so he latches it, he puts a big lock there. He's so possessive about it, and then he goes for shopping inside. And as he goes shopping inside, he shops some certain thing, talk, a big noise comes. Everybody comes out and he also comes out. His whole car is destroyed. His whole car is destroyed. Everything is burnt to cinders. He looks, his face becomes like this. He has a typical face. His whole car is destroyed. And then suddenly looks everywhere and then his face lights up. He runs towards the car. He takes the latch. The latch is blown somewhere. He takes the latch and the latch is still working. And he's happy with the latch. He puts it in his bag and goes away. Can everything that happens in my life, even a blast, can be taken as a blessing? Because human body I have got itself is a huge blessing. Can't be better than this. Yeah? So that is what he's saying. Born as a result of good actions of the past. Some action. Now when they say good action of the past, people try to go into Purva Janma. Last Janma, I must have done something good. You would have done something good, bad, we don't know. This Janma we know, we are here now in the present. No, but last Janma I must have done something bad to get a mother-in-law like this. Very bad. Last Janma I have done something wrong to get a mother like this, a father like this, a brother like this, sister like the husband, wife, pucho hi mat. Something I must have done. As soon as that belief becomes strong in the past Janma, then there are certain professionals who take you to that also and rectify situations there in the past so that you can live peacefully in the current. I can't understand how is that possible to. It's an imagination. So you allow everything to go. So when you say in the past, then with Janma, only the previous Janma or the previous Janma, or it can go on, Anantam. Why it can go on? It can go on because the tendency of the mind is to create things. Arey Baba, that mind which has created this waking real world with the curtain and everything around, which looks extremely real, and I feel about it, how difficult it is for such a mind to create something different. It will keep on creating. The more it creates, the more we get into illusions. Something in past I did. Intelligent people don't indulge in what I did in the past. Intelligent people think about whatever I did, I don't know, this is what I am. At present my shoulder is paining. At present my knee is paining. At present my back is paining. Some problem is there. Solve it now so that 3 months hence that problem should not be there. Ho gaya. Why did it happen? Why are you getting into that? You will not even come to a proper answer there. In past, some actions we have done. Okay. So born as a result of good actions of the past, the seat of experiences like joy, sorrow, etc. The joy and sorrow is felt by the physical personality itself. By the face itself. When somebody is sad, how do you know somebody is sad? One look at the face, you know the person is miserable. One look at the face, you know the person is happy. A happy person is one who is happy because he or she wants to be happy and they have determined themselves that they will be happy. A sad person is one who has understood that sadness is all in the world and I am eternally the victim of my situations and circumstances around me. So eternally, I keep on blaming everybody else for my dejection and disappointments. A formula for sadness. Formula for happy, you can change. You can change. And if you are intelligent enough, you can change the situation and circumstances. There was this children's movie we used to show in the children's class called Harry Potter. Yeah? So in that movie there is this scene where there is a certain box and the teacher says, you just wish, you have that, they have that wand magic picture. So you just do something and that compartment will open. And when the compartment will open, your darkest fear will come out. And what to do with the darkest fear, I will tell you. Change the pattern. So I think so it's that young boy, Ron. So what he does is, he does this thing and the cabinet opens and he is extremely afraid of spiders. So a giant spider comes and it starts coming towards that boy. It's his own fear that is projected. And he says, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He is shaking. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my. Now the teacher says, wave your wand and say ridiculous. And he waves the wand and says ridiculous. Some strength. As soon as he says ridiculous, that spider, huge monstrous spider, has a glasses. And all the 8 legs of the spiders have wheels now. And it starts slipping everywhere. It starts falling all over the place. And it was so hilarious, and this boy laughs. What happened? The fear was real. They changed the parameters of the fear. Each and everything can change. Understand this today if you have not understood this, all what I have said till now. My happiness is entirely in my hands. And the situations and environments around me also, this is a secret not anybody knows, okay? So I am telling you this. All the situations and environments is also entirely in my control. How people relate with me is also in my control. So rather than playing victim about how the other person is relating to me, if I am intelligent enough, I will relate with each and everyone according to their own gunas, which will come sattva, rajas, tamas. When I deliver and interact with them according to who they are, then there are no problems at all. I have to take action, I'll take action also, but I'm never disappointed. You can change the parameters. I tell you, all the relationships in the world, 98% of the relationships can change if I change the situation and parameters around me. There was this person who was going around with a doctor. He himself wanted to become a doctor. So it's a movie called Patch Adams. As he was going around, he says, we can change the parameters and make everybody happy. So the other person, his friend, takes a book and he says, write down. So as he's going, he looks at the person opposite and says, good morning, sir. So the other person doesn't even respond. He just stares and goes. So the friend says, so you got insulted. No, it's a response. He didn't respond. That's a response. Right there. Good morning, sir. No response. Then an old lady is coming from somewhere and there is a tree opposite. So he hangs from the tree, ulta, by his legs. And he just looks at that lady and says, howdy, madam. How are you doing? And the lady gets shocked. And she just looks like that person and she goes away. And the other person says, so she's thinking you're a lunatic. No, wait for it. And then she looks at him and she walks away. So see, that is a positive response. You can create your own responses of how society should respond to you. This only will happen when you take the now in your hands and don't dwell in the past too much. The past memories only help you that much to say that mistake I had done then, I am not going to do now. That's all past is required for. It is not for mental indulgence of whatever happened behind. Okay, so that's what the reference of past is. Experiences like joy, sorrow, etc., and subject to 6 modifications. Human beings are subject to 6 modifications. Potentially being born, someday birth will take place. Like yesterday, in one of the children's classes which we take, I asked this 7-year-old boy, so tomorrow when you get married, are you going to be very bad with your wife and hit her? The boy said, no sir, I am going to respond to her in very loving way. I just looked at him and said, hey, you are 7 years old, you are already thinking about marriage? He said, no sir, if it happens, this is potentially exist, grow, mature, disease, decay and death. This is physical body, it will go. Right from baby, how cute, how chubby, look at the cheeks, all these things will go on. Then as soon as the child grows, stop listening to everybody. Then the child grows, stop listening to the parents. Then the child grows, only listen to your wife or the husband or vice versa. Then start listening to your children. Then start listening to the world. After that, stop listening. Ears are off, nose is off, tongue is off. I can't taste anymore, I can't hear anymore. Back to death. This is the cycle going on. This is the physical body. That which is going to be born is one day going to die. What nonsense. Whenever this thought is occurred that this is a physical body, it has a birth and a death, and there is a different purpose why this physical body is given. Whenever the talk becomes like that, people start thinking from the point of view, physical body, no, we don't need to take much care, then it's all right, just a gadi yaar. No, take great care. I told you, this is a very valuable vehicle. Not a single spare part you got which is spare. One knee goes off, you will have to replace it with something metal only or great money. Everything, there is no spare. So what do? Take care of the physical body. Eat the right kind of food, but don't be obsessed with food. 6 times eating, 8 times eating, 9 times eating. So all eating every day, you are thinking, while eating breakfast you are thinking about lunch, while eating lunch you are thinking about dinner. Every time you are thinking about what juices to eat, what they constantly thinking only of that, nothing else. Take care of the physical body. Eat good food. Sleep well. Exercise regularly so that the body is remaining intact and in its proper shape for Chhatagu Samaha in 100 years. That doesn't mean 100 years you touch and die. 100 years means enthusiastic living. How are you? Superb. Not mannerism. How are you? I am okay, fine. Then you ask the person, no, seriously, how are you? And the other, sir, ab kya bataye, ho gaya story. Really, how are you? Superb. Got up today, thank God for that. I could have just closed my eyes and I would have died. We don't know. Things can happen. The very fact we are having a class is a blessing. The very fact I can speak and you are there to listen is a blessing. The very fact internet is on is, there are so many factors moving on that makes things right. So physical body, take care to the best of its ability, but understand taking care of the physical body is not the be all and end all of everything. There is something higher that needs to be achieved through the physical body. So what makes this physical body function in a particular way, and what makes the physical body function in some other way? Why somebody is reacting in a particular way, the other person is reacting in a particular way to the same said situations. This is the physical body, it goes through this, yes, but what controls the physical body? it is the subtle body, which will continue next class. The explanation will be given. Thank you very much. Hari Om.